This video will contain a mixture of real footage from NASA and other space agencies, while also showing video clips from the video game Starfield for animation aesthetic purposes. All real footage and photography which is showcased will be watermarked to credit the author space agency and to separate aesthetic from fact.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Man, that was all four wheels off the ground there. Okay, Max, stop.
Okay, I don't want to do that.
Okay, excuse me.
Oh, geez, that's great. Is the lighting halfway decent?
Yes, indeed. They've got the flag up now. You can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface.
Up now. You can see the stars and stripes on the lunar surface.
Thank you for joining me on the first episode of Space Exploration, where we explore our solar system one object at a time to see the potential of space exploration. If you like this video, please consider subscribing for more photography and science videos. Ever since the dawn of mankind, we have always been fascinated with the moon. On July 20th, 1969, the United States landed 2 astronauts on the lunar surface, arguably the greatest technological achievement in human history. With 12 people and 6 missions in total over a 4-year period. People that have walked on the lunar surface include Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Pete Conrad, Alan Bean, Alan Shepard, Edgar Mitchell, David Scott, James Irwin, John Young, Charles Duke, Eugene Cernan, and Harrison Smith. At the time of this video, 4 out of 12 of the astronauts are still alive. Other countries that have landed probes or robots onto the moon includes the Soviet Union, China, India, Japan, and many other countries in the future. What location will we choose to set up shop? The Apollo landing sites? To preserve the history of the lunar landing locations? Where would we even start? The beginning milestone started with the understanding of nuclear technology. Nuclear fission, which splits larger atoms into smaller ones, and nuclear fusion, which joins lighter atoms into larger ones. Many of the space agencies around the world have been investing in aneutronic fusion, calling it a game-changing concept. In the coming future, aneutronic fusion is going to be essential for space exploration. In the short-coming future, Lockheed Martin, who partners with NASA, will be demoing their aneutronic fusion in 2007. Which plan on replacing conventional engines in the future because of space reduction and efficiency. Regular conventional rockets take up too much fuel and requires massive storage for energy output. Much of the space can be utilized for more useful applications like landing and launching thrusters and remove the likeliness of situations like the Challenger mission, where O-ring failure caused the detonation of the space shuttle. NASA used 750,000 gallons during the Apollo 11 mission, which is larger than the volume of an Olympic-sized swimming pool. Science fiction makes good inspiration on what to expect for the future of space travel, and before we get started, let's play a clip from IGN about how Starfield has realistic expectations for spaceships in the future.
But it's possible that personal spacecraft could actually be a reality in a few centuries' time.
So I would say a couple hundred years, people ought to be able to build their home builts. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near as slick as what we're seeing in Starfield yet, but home built spacecraft in 200 years, I'd buy it. Literally, I would buy it.
Robert Chambers, who is a space flight developer for Lockheed Martin, has positive feedback on Starfield's design of the NASA punk aesthetic starships that they were going for. The link for this video will be provided in the description down below. Nuclear fusion is going to provide fuel for the landing gears, and because of the space eliminated from fuel storage, we can equip ships with more cargo and landing gear to bring more necessary equipment to build on the moon. We can achieve aneutronic fusion with deuterium, but once we get started, we want to switch over to helium-3 and deuterium for the highest power output. The moon is filled with helium-3, so as bases get established, we can start extracting the helium-3 for our reactor fuel for our spaceships. The largest issue with the lunar surface is during the day, the radiation exposure from the sun is 2.6 times greater than Earth. So we would have to construct a special greenhouse that was pressurized and create a biosphere for them to live in. A megastructure known as Biosphere 2 is the closest representation of this technology. At 40 acres and 300,000 square feet, this facility contains several biomes, including agriculture for self-sustainability, the ocean in the biosphere is crucial for the function of the biosphere itself because, like Earth, the ocean produces the most oxygen on Earth for our survivability, which means many ocean species are also going to be colonizing the moon along with humans. A very common misconception that people have is that trees and forests produce all the oxygen that we breathe in, and that is simply not true, and it only produces 20% of what we breathe. Diatoms, or also known as algae, produce the bulk of the oxygen on Earth, which conveniently is microscopic, so we don't have to rely on massive tree chambers, which will be extremely inefficient. On the moon's biosphere, we probably have to create an ocean twice as large to accommodate for the oxygen and carbon dioxide cycle, which was one of the largest reasons why Biosphere 2 failed in the 1990s when the project started in the first place. Underneath the facility lies the technosphere, containing the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, and HVAC that runs the entire facility. The entire technosphere is a technological marvel, which is a facility in its own right, which is even capable of making its own energy, making a self-sustaining system. Traveling away from the facility is a gigantic diaphragm. The purpose of this device is because during the day and night cycle, the biosphere experiences pressurization because of the heat and cold, which causes the expansion and contraction of the diaphragm. The only thing holding up this 40,000-pound diaphragm is differential air pressure. Traveling on the moon would be much different than traveling on the Earth, as gravity is much less on the moon. An average human on the moon would be capable of jumping almost 10 feet, while the average on Earth is almost 1.5 feet. The difference of gravity on the moon is 1/6 less that of Earth, which would dramatically affect the skeletal and the muscular system and would most certainly affect the other organisms in the biosphere. This would require settlers to remain more physically active, as we would have to offset the effects from the difference of gravity. You would also be able to lift weights much easier on the moon, as 100 kilograms would be 16.5 kilograms on the moon. On the International Space Station, we have studied the effects of microgravity on the human body, so we have some experience and knowledge on what to expect on a lunar surface. To achieve this goal, we will need help from all of the major fields, from medical, engineering, and science research. How would this affect the course of human evolution? This will become a pinnacle moment in human history, as this will be the largest science experiments known to man. Many people back home will have to stay in constant contact and provide research support and a link for emergency supplies. This would create a system where the entire world would have to contribute to the cause and perhaps draft more world regulations similar to the Antarctic Treaty. I can't think of a better reason for us all to come together to establish world peace. Thank you for making it this far into the video, and if you like, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to keep up to date with my new series. As a one-person team, it takes a lot of effort to make these styles of videos, so every subscriber helps towards the growth of the channel. Thanks again for watching, and see you on the next video.